Welcome to World History 1. I'm Dr. Nancy Hurd, and I will be your instructor this semester. We were supposed to meet on the Carroll campus on Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning to 10:45 in room 205H, but we are temporarily going to meet online until January the 31st. We have a rising number in COVID-19 cases in our area, and to remain safe, we will have lessons 1 through 3 online. We should plan to meet in person on February the 2nd for the first time, but this may change and I will keep you up to date as I learn more information. So before we actually go into our course shell, I want to point out 3 very important areas once you log into Blackboard. When you log into Blackboard, at the very bottom on the left-hand side, you will see a place that says Help and Resources. So if you ever have technical difficulties with Blackboard, there's a link to fill out a help desk request form. There's also a browser checker. If you use Chrome or Firefox or whatever you may use, if you're having issues with your browser, you can do a browser check here. If you're having issues with your operating system, let's say you use a Chromebook, you may need to reach out and contact the help desk. Another important area is at the top right, is the announcement area. I send weekly announcements 1 or 2 times a week. It could range from information about class meetings to assignments or just information that you need to know. So you can find that at the announcement at the top right hand side, but that's for all your classes. All your classes announcements will be there as well. And at the very bottom, there's an important tab as well. It's called Welcome to Galileo. Galileo is the Georgia Library Learning Online. And it's really important because we will be doing an SLO essay, and you could use Galileo to find secondary scholarly sources to help you write the SLO essay. It will help you find resources that you'll need. So just keep in mind that that resource is available to you as we move forward in this class. So let's actually go into the course shell. We'll click on our course here. And this will be the home page for World History 1. To the left-hand side, there's some very important buttons. I'm going to turn my edit mode off so I'm in student view so I see exactly what you see. But there are some very important things to the left-hand side. You'll see the home page announcements, your syllabus, calendar, lessons, attendance, my grades, and messaging. So the first thing I want to look at is the syllabus section. So at the very top, you'll see something that says course form agreement. You will need to complete the course form agreement within the first week of class. You will not be able to access any information in the lessons tab if you do not complete the course form agreement. So first, we need to look at the syllabus. I'm not going to read the entire syllabus to you, but I'm going to go over the very important parts of the syllabus. So again, we are World History 2, 1600. So we're going to cover from prehistory all the way up to around 1600. Our CRN is 40456. We are supposed to meet on Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10:45 on the Carroll campus in room 205H. We will not meet in person until February the 2nd. We will do lessons 1 through 3 all online. And if this changes in February, I will be sure to let you know as soon as I have information on that. Again, I'm Dr. Nancy Hurd. My contact information is nancy.hurd@westgatech.edu. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or message me in Blackboard. I'll be glad to answer any questions about your class material or assignments. After we start meeting in person, if you want to ask me questions before or after class, I'll be glad to answer questions, or you can continue emailing me. As far as a textbook goes, you do not have to purchase a textbook. The textbook is actually free. It's called World History, Culture, States, and Societies to 1500. You can click this blue link here to access the textbook, but there's also another place you can access the textbook, but I'll show you that in a minute. On page 2 of the syllabus, you will see the student learning outcomes, and West Georgia Tech's link to academic policies, procedures, and student resources, so you can learn more information about things from academic integrity to the academic calendar. So if you have questions about when the withdrawal date is for spring 2021, you can click the academic calendar link there and it will tell you the academic calendar. It also has the spring break dates in the academic calendar. The syllabus continues to tell you more about withdrawals. If you need to withdraw from any of your courses, not just this course, but any of your courses this semester, you would contact the registrar's office, and you would do this by emailing registrar@westgatech.edu. Let's talk about attendance for this class. Attendance is going to be about 5% of your total grade, so attendance counts for 5% of your final grade in the course. Students are expected to arrive on time to class, and you're not supposed to leave early without an excuse. Students that have perfect attendance for the semester will receive bonus points in their participation. But since we're not meeting in lesson 1 through lesson 3, how will we take attendance? Attendance will be taken online until January 31st due to the COVID-19 delay. Each week's attendance will be based off completing weekly assignments. So you need to complete weekly assignments to be counted present. If you complete one assignment during the week, you will be counted present, but you need to complete all of your assignments to get a grade for those particular assignments. Let's also talk about course-specific requirements and grading. I want to talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism is a big no-no. It is a serious offense. The penalty in this class for plagiarism or any other infraction of academic integrity will be a grade of 0 in the assignment. Incidents of plagiarism will also be reported to the college for disciplinary action. Most of the time, you don't even intend to plagiarize, but it's your responsibility to make sure that it doesn't happen. So if you're using someone else's work, you need to put quotation marks around it. You need to cite it. All work for this course should be original work. They should be your thoughts. Coursework from prior semesters cannot be reused. This is also considered a violation of academic integrity because it's not original coursework. You're just trying to resubmit something. So don't resubmit. You'll get a 0 on the assignment. So if you took U.S. History 2 last semester and did a museum review, you cannot submit the same museum review. You will get a 0. Any lying, cheating, stealing, or plagiarism will end in a 0 for the assignment or quiz which it was committed, and multiple instances will be removal from the course. You will have to talk to the Dean of Students, Dr. April Welch, if this happens. We don't want that to happen. Blackboard has a software called SafeAssign that runs all your papers through it, so don't plagiarize. Cite if you use sources. You don't want to get a 0, and you don't want to mess up your academic integrity either. Be honest. So as far as grading goes, we have 2 exams, the midterm exam and final exam. They're both worth 20%. There'll be multiple choice. We have reflection papers. There are 4 of them. They're 5% each for 20% total. The museum reviews 10%, activities 15%, SLO 10%, and participation 5%. I've already told you about the exams. There are 2 of them, 20% each, multiple choice. Reflection papers 4 at 5% are 20% of your grade. A reflection paper is going to be 1.5 pages to 2 pages long, double spaced, 12-point font. What you do in a reflection paper is you access assigned readings. They're found in the Blackboard lessons. They are not chapter readings from your textbook. They are actually assigned article readings that you do. And you pick an article that you enjoyed reading and you do a reflection paper for that article. In the first paragraph, you quickly summarize what the article talks about. In the remainder of the paper, you give your thoughts, opinions, and ideas about the articles. You also need to link this article back to a historical context. So what was going on during this time period? So if you're reading something from Egypt, you need to tell me what was going on in Egypt during that time period. So link it back to the history. The best reflection papers, again, are 1.5 to 2 pages in length. They have clear opinion and ideas and it tells the reader how you felt about that particular article. Museum reviews. Normally, you would actually be going to a museum and doing a museum review. But due to COVID-19, you will visit an approved virtual museum or watch an approved historical movie. You can actually see these approved virtual museums and approved historical films in this list below. The museum review or movie review should be 2.5 to 3 pages long. Your first page should include your thoughts and opinions of the movie or museum. It's very similar to a reflection paper. The remainder should be a historical critique of the museum or the movie. If you are looking at a virtual museum, you need to answer questions 1 through 4. Does the museum explain the virtual exhibit adequately? Does the layout of the museum website and virtual exhibit make sense? Is there anything the museum does exceedingly well? Is there something the museum needs to improve? And if you watch one of the approved historical films, you need to answer questions 5 through 8. Is the movie realistic? How closely does the movie follow real events? What did the movie do well regarding the historical events? And what did the movie need to improve on regarding historical events? Again, here's the list for the approved virtual museums and the approved historical films. The links only take you to the trailers for the movies. You are responsible to find the movie on your own. Another category is activities. What makes up the activities? Activities are assigned quizzes, discussion boards, or any in-class participation that we have. The SLO essay. For this class, the SLO is a requirement for West Georgia Technical College. It is a 5 to 7 page essay that explains the causes and effects of the Protestant Reformation and the resulting Catholic Reformation. You have to use something called Chicago style formatting for this particular paper. And you can learn more about that in the syllabus section of Blackboard. But we're going to talk more about the SLO as we move forward in this class. This is the SLO grading rubric here. And below that, it tells you about participation. Again, it is the attendance for the course. It's worth 5% of your total grade. And as far as extra credit goes, there's one extra credit opportunity during this class. You may visit and complete one additional museum exhibit review from the list above, and if you complete that, you can get up to 2 points on your final grade. So if you make an 88 in the course and you need 2 extra points to have a 90 in the course, if you completed this extra credit, you could bump your grade up from an 88 to a 90. The very last 2 pages address the course schedule. There are columns that tell you lessons, text chapters, topics, assignments, and due dates. If you look at the lessons tab, it tells you the day the lesson starts. So lesson 1 starts on January 12th. Online, we're going to be looking at our introductions and prehistories. That's the topic. It will be off chapter 1. The assignments are post your introduction, complete the course agreement, discussion 1, and quiz 1. They are due on January 18th at 11:59 p.m. The first 3 lessons, 1, 2, and 3, are going to be online. And then lesson 4, if things go according to plan, we will be going over lesson 4 beginning on February the 2nd in class. And then you will go home and complete discussion 4, quiz 4, and reflection paper 1 and turn that in by February the 8th at 11:59 p.m. But if that changes and we go to the online format, I will let you know. But the course schedule tells you everything about when the lesson begins and when things are due. I want to point out some of the major assignments like your reflection papers, SLO, and museum review. Reflection paper 1 is due on February 8th at 11:59 p.m. Reflection paper 2 is due on March 1st at 11:59 p.m. Reflection paper 3, March 29th at 11:59 p.m. Then you have your museum review due on April 19th at 11:59 p.m. Reflection paper 4, April 26th at 11:59 p.m. And then the SLO essay is due on May 3rd at 11:59 p.m. Your 2 exams for the class, the midterm will be in class on March 9th from 9:30 to 10:45 a.m. The final exam will be in class on May 4th from 9:30 to 10:45 a.m. So that tells you about your course schedule. Let's go back and click on the syllabus tab really quick. If we click on it, you'll also see something that says a COVID-19 syllabus addendum. It tells you West Georgia Technical College stance on COVID-19, so read this. If you feel sick, stay at home, or if you have a fever over 100.4, stay at home. You also need to contact the West Georgia Tech COVID response team. You can do that by contacting COVID at westgatech.edu if you have a positive COVID test or if you think you have COVID-19. This will help us with contact tracing. But when we go back to class, make sure you are washing your hands, social distancing, practicing good hygiene, and respecting other people's space. We do need to wear face coverings when we're on campus. Going back to the syllabus tab, it has my contact information here again if you need it. It also has the course schedule. So you have the course schedule on the bottom of the syllabus, but you also have it here. So that's 2 places that has all the due dates. But here's a third place. If you still don't know when something's due, click on this calendar tab. If you click on the calendar tab, it will tell you all the due dates. You see it in this rust color here, or brown. But you can go through January all the way to May, and it has all the assignments. So if you ever have questions about when something is due, when an assignment is due, you can look at either the syllabus tab, look at the course schedule, or look at this calendar. Let's click the lessons tab now. Okay, we click the lessons tab. You have to complete the course form agreement before you're able to access your lessons tab. So once you click the lessons tab, if you've completed the course form agreement, you'll see this lessons folder. Click the lessons folder. At the very top, there's a Q&A section. You can put general questions in this Q&A discussion thread. I will answer them as I see them. But if you have a specific question or a time-sensitive question that you need to answer fairly quickly, send me a message or email. Below that, you'll see World History, Culture, States, and Societies to 1500. That's a link to your textbook. If you click that, it will actually pull your textbook up. So this is your free textbook. Beneath that is a section that says Chicago Style Information and Discussion Rubric. This is very important for the SLO essay, so we'll go ahead and click on it. It has Chicago Style Quick Guide and the Purdue OWL Chicago Manual of Style. It will help you learn how to do Chicago Style, but as we move forward and get closer to the SLO essay, I will go over how to do Chicago Style in class. But one thing I really want to point out in this section is the discussion rubric. This is how I grade your discussion boards every week. There's specific criteria that I look for when I'm grading them, and I use this rubric every time I grade them. I'm going to be looking for context and evidence and content, grammar and spelling, critical thinking and analysis, and engaging with classmates. You need to reply to 2 classmates every week. And you don't just simply need to say, "You did a good job, classmate." You actually need to respond with relevant information that relates back to the lesson. Below all of that information, you will have your drop boxes. You have a reflection paper drop boxes tab that will take you to the place where you upload reflection paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, it has the due dates listed here. Another place that has your due dates. So there are like 4 places with your due dates. You don't really have an excuse not to know the due dates. There's also a museum review Dropbox, and it gives you all the information for the museum review again. It tells you it is due on April 19th at 11:59 p.m. Below that is the SLO Dropbox and instruction. If you click on it, it will have the rubric up here that tells you what you need to do to make a particular score. It also tells you that it has to be 5 to 7 pages, 12-point font, you should have a minimum of 3 to 5 sources, and that it is due on May 3rd at 11:59 p.m. And here's the Dropbox right here. And the last thing I'm going to go over in this video is I'm going to give you an example of what you will see when you click on the lessons. I'm going to look at lesson 1 because that's the lesson we'll work on this week. Click on lesson 1, you'll see your student introductions. So you need to post to the student introductions, answer these 4 questions, make sure you reply to 2 different students for that particular assignment. It also has something called lesson 1 study guides. These are the terms that you need to know. It tells you the textbook pages that you need to read, pages 1 to 20. It also has a link to PowerPoints and lectures. When you get into this PowerPoint and lecture tab, you will see a lecture by a lady, but you will also see a lecture and PowerPoint that are labeled Heard Lesson 1 Lecture and Heard Lesson 1 PowerPoint. You also have something that says Online Readings. If you click on Online Readings, you'll see something that says New Women of the Ice Age, Introduction to Prehistoric Art, a brief look at Neanderthals. These are the online readings. These are the readings that you will be reading for your discussion boards, so you will answer questions about these readings, but they're also the readings that you will write your reflection papers on. You don't write your reflection papers on textbook chapters, you write your reflection papers on online readings. So if you find one of these readings particularly interesting, you may want to do your first reflection paper on it. You may not find these interesting. You may find an online reading in lesson 2 more interesting and decide to do the reflection paper number 1 from lesson 2. But each lesson has online readings. There are also videos for this lesson. There are YouTube videos that tell you more about this particular time period. You've got a quiz in this lesson, and you have a discussion board in this lesson. When you move on to lessons, it will be very similar format. Some lessons have multiple quizzes, but it will be a similar format. If you have any questions about the lessons or about my PowerPoints or anything like that, send me a message in Blackboard or an email. My particular lessons, and for lessons 1 to 3, I will be posting new material every Monday. You should be able to view it by Monday night. You'll see Heard Lecture Lesson 1 on Monday by Monday night. You will see Lesson 1 PowerPoints by Monday night. Next Monday, you'll be able to view Lesson 2 PowerPoints and lecture. But if you have any questions, send me an email.